Howdy brewers, it's another all grain brew day. Today we're going to do an Australian sparkling ale style beer. We're just going to be using some ale malt, a bit of Munich malt. I realise Australian sparkling ale typically has Pilsner and wheat malt. I'm just trying to something different, but I'll be using recultured Cooper's ale yeast from the Cooper's Pale Ale bottles, and I'm also going to be trying the Breeze Cherrywood smoked malt and a little bit of the Simpson's Golden Naked Oats. Now, why am I using the Cherrywood smoked malt? Well, the flavour profile is that it gives a barbecue type flavour, and seen some videos recently. I'm getting into my barbecue and I just want to see if they go well together. I'm just going to be using Pride of Ringwood hops, mainly for bittering. I will throw in a little bit of extra hop, a little bit of Pride of Ringwood, about 15 minutes left in the boil as well. You can see I've milled all my barley malt. This is the oats. So oats don't have a hull. So, and they're a different shape. They're thinner. So mill these separate is all I can say. I recommend milling separate to make sure that they get a good crush. So when you're certain that they've had a good crush, then mix them in with the other grains. You'll be able to see a fine crush. Yes, it pretty much goes to dust. Use some rice hulls if you have them. If not, then just your sparge might be a bit slower. That's why you don't really use more than 10% of your grist, or more than 15% of your grist with these products. But you'll know you'll have a good crush because you'll get a strong smell of like porridge or oatmeal. Alright, I'm going to mix this in with the other grain and wait for the mash water to come to temp. While I have my mash and sparge water getting to mash temp, I'll add my brewing salts. And for today I have 1.5 teaspoons of calcium chloride, and that's to accentuate more malt character, and half a teaspoon of gypsum just to adjust the pH. I don't want it to have too much of an effect on the hops, because gypsum accentuates the hops and the calcium chloride accentuates the malt. If you want a little tip on how I remember that, I just remember that gypsum is for hops and calcium chloride is for malt. Okay, time to mash in. First thing, throw some rice hulls in, just to counter those oats. We have a grist of 85% base malt, which is just a mix of ale and Munich, and that's basically because I didn't have enough ale malt. And then we have 10% of the Golden Naked Oats and 5% of the Cherrywood smoke malt. And if you want to know where I came up with those figures from, I did the malt profiles, went onto the websites and whatnot for the recommended amount of the grist to be able to get the sort of flavour profile I'm after. The Cherrywood had between 5 and 10%, gives basically like a background smoke character where you can definitely taste it but it's not pronounced, and then beyond that it gets more pronounced. And the Golden Naked Oats, I think was 10%, gives you that nice honey nutty flavour, and I just think that they will go well together, supported by the Munich and the ale malt. And yeah, now we'll just do the 60-minute mash. Okay, it's been in the mash for 30 minutes, and that's when I like to put the top plate on. But before I do give the grain bed one last stir. So I like to stir it 3 or 4 times in that first half hour for a 60-minute mash, and it just, your extract efficiency that you'll get means it just goes from 80% to above 90. So you're saving 10% of your grain bill. And that's saving you money down the track. I stir until I can feel the bottom plate pretty much everywhere I touch. Probably not essential to have the bazooka tube on, but yeah, doesn't really matter. 30 minutes and we'll see how we go. Okay, 5 minutes from the end of the mash. I like to just get the gravity reading, and then that way at the scheduled time of the end of the mash, if the gravity changes by a point or more, I'll leave it another 5 or 10 minutes. But if it's less than a point, I know that I've extracted all the sugars I can. Now I don't need to cool it for this measurement because I'm just checking to see if there's a change. So it doesn't matter what it reads at the moment, only if there's a change. Now, so it's reading 1062, but from experience that tells me I'm pretty much there. I don't expect any change in 5 minutes, but we'll see. It's been 5 minutes. Check the gravity again. It's shot up by 1 point, so I'm just going to leave it 5 more minutes and see what we get. Been another 5 minutes. Okay, that's reading stable. So now we can start the mash out. Alright, it's been 10 minutes of the mash out, and so I do it at 76 degrees Celsius. So now it's time to sparge. It's a good flow rate going through the grain bed. I'll start adding some water in a minute. Once I can start to see the top plate, now that it's fallen onto the grain bed, that's when I start to add my sparge water, just 1 litre at a time till I run out of sparge water. I should add, while I'm sparging, I save myself a bit of time and flick it over to the boil so it doesn't take as long after I finish my sparge. Okay, we finished the sparge. We were just half a litre over our target volume. 20 grams of Pride of Ringwood hops. And it's close enough to the boil now, so I'm happy to throw the hops in. Alright, and I'll wait until the boil before I start the countdown. So we have our Australian Sparkling Ale kit, or wort, and here we have a recultured Cooper's ale yeast. It was a good brew day. I split the batch, gave half to a mate, and we'll ferment this at 20 degrees until it's done. Cheers.